Hey, welcome to our first vlog. I'm so excited today. We've been pumping video and how to use it on YouTube and in your website to create better SEO and over on Facebook as content and LinkedIn as content. So I'm actually going to do a vlog today, and my first vlog guest is AmondaRose Igoe. And I'm so excited to have her here today. She's somebody that you all, if you're writing books or you're in business, you definitely need. She is a speaking success strategist. She's also an award-winning expert, speaking expert, and best-selling author. So she understands what you're going through as an author, trying to get yourself out there and get yourself known. AmondaRose has taught thousands of leaders, entrepreneurs, business professionals, and step-by-step speaking systems so that they can effectively share their message and skyrocket their presentation results. She is the creator of the Invincible Speaker System to amplify your impact and income. Wow, that's a mouthful, AmondaRose.
It's a good mouthful, though. You got to love the word invincible.
She's also the author of Pain-Free Public Speaking and Share Your Story, and is a contributing author to the #1 best-selling series, The Chicken Soup for the Soul. The power of what AmondaRose teaches has helped her clients around the globe overcome their biggest speaking challenges and achieve massive monetary results. She has trained and coached business professionals in over 20 different countries. Wow, I may need you. It's Monday and I can't speak. You can learn more about AmondaRose by visiting AmondaRose.com. And I'm going to spell that for you because she has such a unique name and I always misspell it. It's A, M as in Mary, O, N as in Nancy, DAROSE.com, AmondaRose.com. So welcome.
Yay, I'm so glad to be here, Juliet.
Well, we're glad to have you. So I just want you to talk a little bit about yourself for a minute and tell my readers and followers on this video exactly what you do and how you help authors specifically.
I am thrilled to do that. I think there is a lot of overlap or connection between what I do and what authors want to do. So authors want to typically share a message of some sort. So they might have a personal story that they want other people to learn from their experiences. They might have something that they feel called to write in a book. And the people who feel called to speak feel the same way. They want to share their story. They want to share principles and strategies and tips that will help empower other people. And then some people might be fictional authors, and that's a little bit different, but they often want to also have an impact on people's lives as well. And so I have the blessing of sharing the power of what I teach to get people out there in front of more people. So if somebody does have a story to share, a message that other people want to hear, they can do it in the format of a book, and they can take those same things and stand in front of an audience and share those same kind of principles.
That is so cool. So I think I shared with you when we were at CEO Space that there was a lot of fear for me behind speaking. And when I was at Chiat Day, I had to do my first presentation in front of an audience, and I actually went out and bought reading glasses of all things because, of course, with reading, now I need glasses, but with reading glasses, you can only see, what's right in front of you. And I didn't actually I had to look at the audience, but I couldn't see them. I just had to kind of nod my head around the room like I was making non-contact eye contact.
I think that's a great public speaking hack, by the way.
That's what?
It's a great public speaking hack. I've never heard that before.
I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
So what about the fear behind public speaking? Because for a lot of people, that's real. Like I remember when I spoke my first audience that was 300 people, I was literally like shaking, and I thought I was going to pee my pants, if we're going to be really transparent here. So how do you work with that fear and help people overcome it?
So first I want to share, most people think that somebody who's a speaking trainer, that this has been easy for me. Like this, I walked into a room, stood in front of an audience, and nailed that talk. Well, I have to share with you, that was completely opposite. When back in, over almost 20 years ago, I had a job with a nonprofit. And they didn't tell me when I took the job that I have to stand in front of hundreds of people, and had no experience whatsoever. None. And I would go to networking meetings and my hands would shake so bad I had to sit on them. So I was a horrible communicator, ahs and ums, nervous laughter, handshaking, the whole bit. And so I'm here to just share with those that are struggling with fear that I'm no different than you. So if I could change my experiences and not have to deal with those kind of challenges anymore, anybody can. Because what happens, the reason that those occur, they occur for two reasons. One is that we're very passionate about our message. So when you're passionate about your message, your adrenaline's going to kick in, right? So the adrenaline is either going to make you feel more powerful, or it can give you that overwhelming feeling like, oh my gosh, these are nerves, my heart is racing, my knees are shaking, all of those things can happen. Now that's the one side where the fear comes from, and the other side is the unknown. So often public speaking fear shows up for people because we're not taught how to present. We're thrown in front of an audience like myself and it's either sink or swim, right? Either make it or you break it. Most of us break it or feel broken afterwards. And so that's because we weren't taught. And so when you learn that and I'll give the audience a great tip how to handle the fear. And the other side is if you learn the art of speaking, is that you become more comfortable. You know what you're doing when you start your talk. So you're not going up going, I don't know what I'm going to say, or I don't know if what I'm saying is right. And that causes a lot of angst and fear. So if somebody is going up and you have to present, even if it's a group of 20, or you're doing a book signing, which is really common for authors, and your heart is racing and you're really uncomfortable, I'm going to share with you my secret power move. And it's going to sound crazy and it's going to sound like it makes no sense, but it will instantly help you step into your speaking power. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay, my secret power move is a Kegel. A Kegel.
Wait a minute. Can men do that?
Yeah, men can do that. So women, many women who've had children, you know what a Kegel is. And for men, you've gone like, what is this thing? So for those that don't know, first let me tell you what happens when you do a Kegel, and then I'll tell you how to do it. Is when you have a Kegel, you cannot have a negative thought at the same time. It can't exist. It literally cannot happen. You could try all you want. Women, anybody who knows what a Kegel is, try it now and try to have a negative thought. You can't. And then what also happens is you stand up taller, your shoulders go back, you stand in your speaking power. And you can use that anytime in your talk, anytime you have to present, even if you're in the middle of speaking, and you're bumbling over your own words, you're not feeling confident, Kegel it. And you'll instantly shift it. It's amazing how it works. And I start every talk with a Kegel. So what is a Kegel? A Kegel is actually where you imagine that you're going to urinate or pee or whatever you want to call it. You imagine you're going to do that and you stop the flow. You just stop it. And this is all imaginary. You stop it. And that's what a Kegel feels like. So it's like a lower lock. In yoga, they call it Mula Bandha. And you just lock those lower muscles. And when you do it and you're standing up, you'll notice your shoulders go back. You feel like you step in your speaking power. You feel taller, more confident. And so that's all you need to do is Kegel it. It works like magic. It's crazy. And
wow.
I'm going to tell you.
Only here can you get the most authentic people who will give you moves like that.
Well, I really think that things come to certain people, right? And nobody teaches this in my industry. And I hope that people are telling other speaker trainers about this, so they're doing it, because it really does make a huge difference. I was speaking at CO Space. Juliet and I met at CO Space International. I was speaking last year, and I did my talk. It was great. And then Bernie called me, the founder called me up for an award, and I got totally caught off guard. He hands me the microphone, had not given anybody else the microphone before. And you know Bernie, he doesn't like to get rid of his microphone. Hands the microphone to me. And I went, and somebody who came to my talk at CO Space yelled out, AmondaRose, Kegel it, Kegel it. I Kegeled it and nailed that short 3-minute talk that I did.
Wow. Wow. So how did you get started in speaking training and coaching? Like what made you go from that I can barely speak in front of a nonprofit to I've got this rocked?
Okay, so I did some personal development at the same time that I took the job with the nonprofit. And they didn't tell, so as I'm sitting there doing all this personal development and going, okay, I'm going to be able to nail these talks, I'm going to figure it out. I kept having this calling as I'm doing personal development that I was meant to speak. And I didn't want to listen to that voice. I kept trying to shut it down and tell you can't do it. You're not good enough. Stay in your job. Stay in your comfort zones. And when you have that little voice that tells you that you're here to do something, it will nag you night and day. And that's what it did to me. And so eventually I listened to the voice. And after 5 years, I walked away from my job and started my own business. And I like to say it was really easy from the beginning, but it wasn't, because I had no business experience whatsoever. I didn't know, really how to market myself and really present talks that would actually convert people into clients and all those things I've learned over time. But I didn't know in the beginning what I didn't know. And so I just really felt my calling and felt my heart. And so over the years, I've gotten even better. I was good as a presenter, but I've gotten much better and more confident in my own work and more confident in my message and really let my authentic self shine through. I think that's an important message, is because we might look at other speakers and think we have to be like them. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, you want to bring your A game, your best, but always be authentically yourself, because that is what people resonate with the most. Would you agree, Juliet?
I totally agree. And even to the point where, I have a really wicked sense of humor. And a lot of times that's how I open a room up is that sense of humor. I've even done the opening where I've, pretended, okay, I'm really scared up here. I'm going to pretend you're all in your underwear. And then I start calling people out in the audience. So, there's so many ways that you can really get people laughing. And I think, me, like that's authentically me. Like I make a joke out of everything. Even when it's ugly, I make a joke. So, I get the authenticity. So what do you do when you don't have like that presence, that laughter presence like I do? What do you go to when you don't have something like that?
So you want to look at for yourself what do other people resonate with when it comes to you? So what do your friends tell you that they love about you?
My sense of humor.
Yeah, right? I loved you because I love to laugh and you made me laugh. I'm funny, but it's off the cuff humor, just in the moment. I'm horrible at telling a joke. I couldn't do what you did, right? Because that's not me. But I look at what people love about me is my ability to tell a story, to create a visualization. So I always start with a visualization because that's really one of my strongest suits, is to create something that will take people on a short little journey. So I open that way. I'm very much about using communication around the heart and showcasing that. So you really want to highlight what other people tell you that they love about you. And if you're not sure, for somebody that's listening, ask your friends. So I would even ask my clients, and this was probably, I'm going to say 9 years ago. I'd say to my clients, well, why do you love working with me? You're all about heart, AmondaRose. It took me a while to communicate that in my marketing, because it was, how do you communicate all about heart? It's not, right? It has to be spoken, but as yourself and your presenter, you want to really bring those strengths out. So if you're really caring, and that's a strong suit, audience engagement is great for you, because you could, if you say it was a personal development topic and somebody was struggling with something, your caring or your coaching ability could help somebody move forward quickly and instantly on the spot.
That's really, really true. And it really depends on your audience too. Like I wouldn't expect to I talked to someone this weekend that's he speaks in front of scientists. Like I wouldn't expect that to be at all humorous, just really dry. So I would think his personality would fit with that because he's among his people. So I can definitely see that. I loved what you just said about ask your friends. I was coaching at ELP a couple weeks ago, and a young man who wants to be a speaker was asking me, like, how do I find out? Exactly what you just told me. And I was like, ask your friends, don't ask your family. Like, I don't understand. And I'm like, your mom is going to tell you how adorable you are. And like your family's, they're going to hire you.
Or if she's Italian and I'm Italian, or Jewish, she'll make you feel guilty about yourself.
You want to what?
You know what I'm talking about. They're just creating guilt.
That's so funny. So what is the biggest misconception that people have about speakers?
The misconception that people have about speakers is that they'll see somebody else do it and think it's just natural for them, that they haven't been trained. So if you look at a Tony Robbins, a Les Brown, T. Harv Eker, Lisa Sasevich, who's also does speaker training, they've all invested in training in themselves. They just didn't go in front of the room and say, they may have done this in the beginning, okay, I'm going to present and wing it. They really thought about that moment as essential. That moment could make or break their career. So they invested, and including myself, in being our best in that information. And I'll just be totally upfront with you. I meet a lot of people that will say to me, well, I'm comfortable as a speaker. And Juliet, I'm going to be harsh, but it makes me want to throw up. And the reason it makes me want to throw up is it isn't about being comfortable. It's about being your best, right? Now, remember, we want to let ourselves shine through, but our best self shine through. And so people think that if they're comfortable, then it's okay. Comfortable is about us. Comfortable is not about our audience. And as a speaker, it's all about our audience. So if our audience is being impacted positively from our message, then it's great. But if it's about us just being comfortable and okay, that's enough.
Yeah, no, I get that. And here's the other thing too, really that comfort level on your side while you're talking about your audience as well. Like I had a speaker coach, but I also had a high ticket sales coach, because when you get to the end, when you give that pitch at the end, that's not so comfortable for a lot of people. I can do the talk and it's great, but I was getting to the end of my talk and then I had to make that sales pitch, and all of a sudden asking people for $4,000 or $5,000 wasn't so comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's where you really have to have that belief in yourself that, you know, I've gotten them excited about this. I've been sticking in those, you know, those passive acceptances along the way. I've been watching who in the audience is shaking their head when I'm asking for those responses to see who's going to bite into this. And that gets a little scary at times, because what if you gave that talk and nobody ran to the back of the room?
Right. And there are many people who think, oh, I want the applause. I want everybody standing ovation. So here's the thing. That's awesome. But are they running back to the room to go purchase your programs? And I've had one of my past clients, the reason she came to me, she said, I get standing ovations every single time I speak, but no one hires me.
See, and that's a problem with that pitch at the end. So that's so important. And that's what I mean about, you know, you're somebody saying they're comfortable. Getting comfortable asking people to buy a program is a little bit different than being comfortable with, hey audience, so you know, would you like to buy my book, or would you like this free gift?
Right. Because a book, right? $15, $16, $20, $25, right? Easy. You don't think anything about asking somebody to buy a book. Well, maybe it causes a little angst. But when you get into programs that are hundreds or $100, $200, $500, $1,000, $10,000, boy, does your crap come up.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. So how important is audience interaction in the presentation now that we're talking about that? Because that's one of the things that I really look for is, you know, how am I getting their engagement? Am I getting those passive head nods during the course of the presentation? Because it's pretty hard for someone who's been nodding and answering all those questions a yes to not go to the back of the room. How do you gauge that? How do you do that?
Well, so audience engagement is super important. So there's a difference between talking at an audience and talking with an audience, right? So audience engagement is talking with an audience. It's a conversation, just like you're having a one-to-one conversation with somebody. They need to feel like you're conversing with them. So a person who's doing a lecture uses a bunch of slides, they stare at the slides, they don't engage with the audience maybe takes some notes, they get on their phone, they go to the bathroom, because there's no reason for them to stay. So audience engagement is about providing the data, the same information that you normally provide, which is in the head, but bringing it down into the emotional, the heart. And that's where they connect from the information. So if you take the data and you just provide data, it's just data flying around their head, they probably won't use it and they probably won't remember it. But if you use audience engagement, brings it down to the heart level, they're now involved in the presentation, doing something. I'll give some quick examples of what audience engagement means. So now they're getting more value from that presentation because they're not being talked at, they're being talked with. And so an audience engagement might be having them write down 3 challenges that they're experiencing with something, right? And what would be 3 outcomes they would like to have? That's a simple audience engagement, getting them to write something down. You could take it to another level and say, who would like to share one thing they wrote down their list? So now the audience is sharing that one thing, right? Another person shares another thing. People are writing down what the other person said because now they gave them other ideas or other points of view that they didn't have before. And they'll learn a lot more from an audience, your participation with an audience, than they will with us just talking about something.
You know, that's such a good point. And you guys don't know this, but when we were at CEO Space, I was getting ready to give a presentation, and AmondaRose went through it with me. And I actually went home, I developed one of those worksheets, and at the bottom of it, I was able to put a small program for people to bite into. And I have to tell you, I did it. People were really engaged. But when I went home, I was so shocked because nobody got in and bought the program, even though I had it on the slides. Well, over the next couple weeks, that handout that I gave people where they actually engaged, they started buying the program. It was a matter of, they went home, they looked over it, and it was kind of an amazing shift. Because it's just awkward to hand out when you're giving a talk. Here's something, go buy it. But if you're doing it with some valuable information, then people are more likely to keep it. Because I know when I get a flyer at a speaking event and it's just a here, buy my program, it's like, here's the trash can on the way out the door. I'm going to go get a coffee now.
Yeah.
So that was another way. I love that people were able to hold on to that sheet of paper, have it as valuable information, and kind of buy later.
Yeah, and so then somebody might go and say, even they might not be ready at that moment, but 6 months later, now they have your information. So they might contact you again and say, hey, I heard your talk 6 months ago. I wasn't ready then. Now I'm ready. Because they'll hang on to those things because it was valuable content that you provided.
It was. And I have to say about that too. People always get, when I talk to them in strategy sessions, they'll say, well, I don't need that right now. But the thing is if it's top of mind for you, you will go back when you're ready, and you will know when you're ready. So it's not something that you forget. I always have this with people who, I'm not ready for micro commitments. And then when they get funnels up, they'll come back and say, I remember we talked about that. I wasn't ready. It seemed overwhelming. So that's a great point, that they will, they do remember those things and they will come back with it. So how can our guests learn more and begin to accelerate their speaking results?
Well, thanks for asking. I actually have a really cool gift. It's 8 high-performance speaking tips, 8 high-performance speaking tips that will help you double and even triple your results and your revenue. And you could get that at performancespeaking.com. I always spell it out and you do want to spell things out. Let's just give a tip while we're doing the process, right? Just like you spelled out my name, AmondaRose.com, even like hi, people go H-I. Well, I would just think it was H-I-G-H, but no, H-I-G-H, performancespeaking.com, highperformancespeaking.com, and you can get that as my free gift.
That's so cool. So if we want to get a hold of you, we can get a hold of you. Your email address is AmondaRose@AmondaRose.com. Do I need to spell that again, or would you like to?
I will spell it. It's AmondaRose.com, AmondaRose @AmondaRose.com. It's like Amanda, but with an O in the middle.
And that's what I spell wrong all the time. So one more thing before we go here too. You have a brand new face community, and I see it filling up fast, and it's really rocking. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can find it.
Yep, it's called Big Impact and Income Speaker, and it's not just about speaking in front of a live audience, because if you're speaking on video, like we're doing right now, if you are picked for a media interview or any type of interview, podcast interviews, or you're doing even Facebook Live videos, you're speaking. So you want to be able to communicate your message in a clear, concise, and compelling way. So my group was designed to give you that support in all those formats and to connect you with amazing people. And I got to tell you, it's only amazing people in my group. So it's a private group. So you have to ask me to join, but I'm more than happy to, I'll know that you're connected with Juliet, and I'm more than happy to connect you to my group. So it's Big Impact and Income Speaker.
Well, thank you so much. And this is all actually part of what we're doing here with learning how to use your content. This is going to become content for you. And that's why I'm so excited to have AmondaRose here today, is because like she said, it's not just getting up on a stage. You've got to start someplace, and the best place to start is video and Zooms and interviews and things like that. Even Facebook Live. People are crushing it with Facebook Live. So thank you so much for being here today. All right. And you guys, if you want to grab one of our free gifts, you can go down below this and grab one of them today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.